24 minutes to 8. Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Today, we start off with what you might have seen on the front pages today if you caught our opening sequence during the papers. How the court did rule on those 37 lawmakers. We're joined now by Mr. Chris Akiri, who is the chairman, Editorial Board of National Daily Newspapers. He's also a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
It is my pleasure always.
Well, yes, you do. We spoke about this before this judgment a while ago, and you gave your opinion about it. And at that time, those who wrote in disagreeing with your perspective, they just didn't understand how that was going to play out.
Yes.
But now it looks as though you've got the last laugh.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy about it. I am in ecstasy, if you want to know.
But how did the court perpetually restrain the legislators from effecting any leadership change?
Yes, they are talking about, the situation is that when the 37 legislators defected in December, on the 18th of December last year, now the position of the other party, to which they defected, changed dramatically. It changed from 137 to 134. And the PDP from which they defected also shrank from 208 to 171. So, you see, at that time, that was the time when the other party to which they defected started talking of changing the position of the leadership of the House. Because they were now in the majority. Now, but after this ruling, you can now see that the 37 people, the 37 defectors, are not going to be there anymore. They are not going to be. They are not going to be in the House at all, let alone participate in the voting or any proceedings in the House of Representatives, because the order given, the judgment that was given by the Honorable Justice was executory in nature. So he now gave a perpetual injunction. But there is no way they can come in again to come and be part of the party that wanted to change, to change the leadership of the House. That's the meaning of that.
So that means they can continue their functions in the House.
No.
But they cannot vote against the leadership change.
No, they cannot continue. The order is so clear, is unequivocal. The order is that you cannot vote in the House and you cannot participate in any proceedings of the House. Therefore, you should resign. So it's so clear. In other words, they cannot be in the House anymore. They have lost their seats. That's the meaning of the order. Wow.
But we also know that the House of Representatives seems to have a rather, strange tradition. Now, usually these things are not respected until they have gotten to the Supreme Court. How do you see things playing out henceforth?
Well, yes, they can. I think they can appeal.
Which they have said they're going to do.
Yes, I think they can appeal, but like I told you, there are two types of order. There are two types of court judgment. We have the executory type, and we have the declaratory type. And this one is declaratory. It's executory. Executory means the court has given the position of the law and has proceeded to say what must be done, in pursuance of the judgment. That in contradistinction to a declaratory judgment where the court merely states the position of the law without more.
So with this case, are they expected to carry out or execute the judgment?
Yes, they are to move. Once the court has said, go away, it means go away. It's not a question of whether this is the position of the law, there's the position of the law. After stating the position of the law, the judge proceeded to say, you should go away.
He didn't want them to come and seek interpretation.
Yes.
Let me just read out something here.
Yes.
It's the court's opinion that their tenure has not expired. And there is no division in the PDP. That's part of the judgment. So
yes.
Does that mean, what does that imply?
No, when you talk of the tenure of whom? Of
these lawmakers, these 37 lawmakers.
If it has not expired, but by the fact that they resigned before the lapse, before the expiry of the tenure.
No, they moved party before the expiration.
Yes, I'm sorry. They defected, from the party on whose platform they were elected to office in the first place. They automatically forfeited their right to be in the House. That's what it is. As for the division you're talking about, you remember that there was a Mr. Justice Evo Chukwu who ruled in October last year that there was no division in the PDP, that there was no division. You see, because those people who defected did so because they imagined that the proviso to Section 68, subsection 1, paragraph G, which says that, well, provided the defecting from one party to the other is not as a result of a division or a merger in the party which elected them to office in the first place, you see. So they thought there was a division. But like I told you that time I came, that division was created by the defectors to enable them to defect. And you cannot profit from you cannot benefit from your own wrong, the law says. So that is as far as that. The reason I'm particularly happy about this is that you recall that in 1952, when the late Chief A.M. Akinloye started this carpet crossing thing in Nigeria, it brought instability to the political system, to the polity as a whole. And it continued thereafter. And so when the 1979 Constitution came, in its Section 64, which is replicated in Sections 68 and 109 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, they thought that there was a mischief, that is this carpet crossing, a mischief which must be cured by those particular sections. 68 in our Constitution, this current Constitution as amended, and 68 and 109, that you don't defect. You say the era, and I'm particularly happy that this judgment sounds a death knell to whimsical politicking, to mercenary, venal politicking. You go there must be stability, there must be steadfastness, even in politics. You are there. Make sure you want to do what your promises to the electorate.
Well, Mr. Akiri, what I would like us to look at again is the language of the court. Yes. Of the judge rather, he says that the 12th to 53rd defendants ought to resign their seats honorably. For me, I think I want to underline that word, ought. In other words, as supposed to. It's not quite saying you should resign. No. He says, just a moment,
yes,
ought to resign their seats honorably since they have left the party upon which their constituencies give them mandate to represent them in the National Assembly. They have no business morally and legally staying in the House of Representatives. It would seem that this is a judgment, but it's still an opinion of some sort.
No, it's not an opinion like this. You see, when the judge was saying, by what you have just read,
yes,
is that by the time they took the decision to defect from the political party on the platform of which they were elected to office in the first place, by the time they took that decision, they ought to have resigned. They ought to have quit their position, their seats in the office. If you were quite sure that, oh yes, I have this reason to go away from this party. I don't like this party anymore. It was the party by which I came to power, but I don't like it anymore. You ought to have quit. You ought to have resigned immediately without the necessity for anybody coming to court to drive you away. Now that the matter is in court, Now we tell you, you have no business being in the house, and the judge made it so clear. You have no business being in the house, you have no business to vote, you have no right to vote, you have no right to participate in the proceedings of the house, and therefore you should go. I mean, it's so clear.
It would seem that, you know, what is more binding, because what we have seen reported so far is that they cannot vote in terms of effecting a change in leadership in the House.
No,
but that, you know, this particular part is saying that they ought to have resigned honorably.
Yes, correct. Honorably.
This is more of an opinion than the other one that says they cannot vote.
Yes.
That seems to be more of an instruction,
you see,
something that must be kept.
There are two things. I just explained that, you see, the judge was saying you ought to have resigned honorably. By the time you took decision...
He's not saying now get out.
They did not. They did not. That's what they ought to have done. Yes, but they didn't. So the matter came to court. It was because they did not do what they should have done, namely resign honorably, that the matter came to court in the first place. Now that the matter has come to court, this is our own judicial opinion. Our own judicial opinion is that having resigned from the party, you know, which brought you to power, now, without the, before the expiry of your tenure, now you have forfeited your right to be in the House, because you can no longer vote in the House, you can no longer participate in the proceedings of the House, but that's all you go to the House for.